do they say that there's a cure for this? I mean, I did read in researching Tourette syndrome and you that with age, it can completely disappear in some cases or get better. What are your thoughts on your prognosis?
So when I was diagnosed at the Mayo Clinic, she looked at me and she was like, I have hope for you. Like, I see thousands of people with Tourette's and it gets better over time. However, it's a chronic condition and it doesn't completely go away. So it would come back in like stressful situations or like when you're really excited or when you have anxiety or like certain situations like that, you will most likely always have a tick or always tick in some way, shape, or form. However, it is supposed to get better with age, and I'm hoping that by the time that I want kids or have kids, that it does get better. There is also a brain surgery that you can get that is used for Parkinson's, but Tourette's patients have been starting to use it for research, basically as like a lab rat, which I refuse to do. And I don't know what it's called actually. Deep brain stimulation surgery.
Okay.
They like drill a hole in the top of your head, and there was a guy who went on the news about it, and he like controlled, um, almost like his how bad his tics were going to be through his phone, through like the level of the thing in his brain. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It
Oh,
was
wow.
super cool. His tics have went from like really, really bad to like 70% improvement. So it was crazy to see and read about and watch his life go from this to this in a matter of seconds. It was insane, and props to him because I would never do that.
Yeah.
I would never.
Yeah. Do you try to do some things that help you suppress the ticks? I mean, do you try to stay in certain situations or stay away from certain situations, or is there a physical thing that you do to suppress the ticks? Or at this point in your life, are you confident enough and it feels good to you, like you need to do it? Like, where are you at with that?
I'd say a little bit of everything. There's definitely some things that I do to help. Like, for example, I take deltas. If you don't know what delta is, it's basically like a THC infused like gummy.
Okay.
Um, and THC helps tremendously. I don't tick. Like I do not tick at all. It's like amazing the fact that I can like I do it to go to Top Golf. I love Top Golf. It's my favorite activity to do. However, I don't want to throw a club at anyone. So I take a specific amount of dosage to go there, and people have actually reached out to me and been like, "You faker. I saw you at Top Golf. Like you didn't tick." And I was like, "Cause I was high." Like like there's just things like that. I the more exercise you do, the more focused your brain is, and the like your tics go away. So like when I go down to the gym, I work out 3 to 5 times a day. 3 to 5 times a week, sorry, not a day.
I was like, wow.
And um the more inflammatory foods that you eat, because Tourette syndrome is an inflammatory condition. It's an inflammatory syndrome, whatever. And the more foods you eat that have inflammation in them makes your tics worse. So like caffeine. I drink caffeine though, but that's a good example because it makes my tics really bad. However, I drink it.
What about alcohol?
Oh yeah, really bad. Really bad. So every time I drink, I have to take THC every time I drink. It makes them skyrocketly horrible. Like I can't even leave the house. I'd be smashing my head off this table multiple
Right.
times.
Wow. Wow. So where do you live now? Are you done with college?
Yes, so actually back to the other topic we talked about before I lost track, I had to drop out of college because of
Oh,
how bad my tics were. So I finished half a sophomore year and called it quits because I had to teach myself everything. I would go into class with headphones in because um the teachers all the teachers announced that I had Tourette's before the beginning of the year.
Oh,
So
right. That
every
was my question. How did the teachers
yeah,
react? Yeah, yeah.
so every kid knew that I had Tourette's. However, it made me very, very uncomfortable because if I had a good tick day, the people next to me would be like, "Oh my God, you're doing so well." And they'd point it out. They would point out my ticks, which makes my condition worse. They'd be like, I've never heard that one before. And I'd be
Mm.
like, me either. Like, what do you want me to say? It made me so uncomfortable and I didn't want to talk to anyone. And no one ever laughed because in college you're a little bit more mature, but also she said that she would like give you an F on like the exam or something if like you laughed or something like that, because it just wasn't tolerated in like the certain classrooms that I was in. And everyone was very, very respectful. And I really did appreciate that. However, the teachers would pause every time I ticked. So it just became like almost inconvenient to bring it up and then like try to pretend like it's not there, but then act like it's there. And I contacted the nursing program. I was a nursing student, or becoming a nursing major, whatever you want to call it. And one of the basic nursing classes I was in, the teacher, after I was on Dr. Phil, there was an article that WVU, I went to West Virginia University, wrote about me and my nursing instructor through Zoom. There were like 120 kids in this Zoom call. And she said, Baylen, can you unmute yourself? And I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, I'm going to need to talk to you after class. Is that okay? And I said, yes, ma'am. So we wait till after class and she goes, I read that article. She goes, you got the whole nursing program talking about you. I said, what do you mean? She goes, we've had meetings. She goes, we just don't know how you're going to be a nurse. I said, okay. I said, like every other nursing student. And she was like, well, I have faith in you. I have faith in you, but however, you're going to need to cut the bad words out if you want to be a nurse at WVU. And
Oh
I
my
said,
God.
And then I went to the head of the nursing board at WVU and I contacted him. I said, this is your teacher? This is a nurse working for you, okay, that doesn't think I can be a nurse. I said, let me tell you something respectfully. I have went and gotten 2 COVID tests by your nursing students here, and not one of them have been able to give me a COVID test. They said we can't give her a COVID test. We can't do it. If you want to give yourself a COVID test, you can give yourself a COVID test. I said, epic. And then I went to go get blood work done, and neither of the nursing students could give me blood work. I said, that is your nursing staff, not mine. So
Could give you the test and the blood work because they were nervous to touch you, or because they couldn't like they didn't know what they were doing?
they didn't know how to treat someone with Tourette's.
Right.